It's on okay now? It's on screen? Fine, it's fine. Okay, thank you so much. Firstly, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be at Bahçeşehir University. Fatima invited me to give a presentation in this conference. I'm very delighted to be here actually as a guest speaker. And this is my first time at Bahçeşehir University, although I have some friends here. This is the first time I could come. Actually, this is not my specialization. You know, I'm not an expert on gender studies or role of women in society, role of women in politics, etc. But this is an issue which I really would like to focus on in the near future. So when Fatima came and asked me, and I couldn't say no to her, and I did my work. I tried to do my best to do this presentation. So I hope it will be fine. So. First, I would like to give a brief background, and then I would like to talk a little bit about the role of education. But already our professor already mentioned a lot of data which are very important for us, so I would like to skip that part as much as I can. And then I would like to talk about the role of women in civil society and the role of women in politics in the world, and especially in Turkey. Because although we are now focusing on the issues in Africa, Turkey is not in a very good situation, although there are some improvements. So, and then I would like to conclude with a story of Teraray Trend, which I'm really inspired by her story, and I really also mentioned her story to my students, Fatime, and I hope their foundation will be also very, very beneficial for the education of girls in Africa. So, in the Tanzimat period, during the Ottoman state, they initiated a reform policy which was influenced by Europe and addressed women's issues which were seen as part of modernization. And also in the Republican era in Turkey, the civil code was adopted in 1926, which prevented polygamy, instituted civil marriage, allowed the initiation of diverse proceedings by either partner, and guaranteed equality of women before the law. The women in Turkey started to vote and be elected in municipal elections in 1930 and in the national elections in 1934, which is much earlier compared to the West European countries. For example, the women obtained the right to vote in France in 1944 and in Italy in 1945. The Turkish women's movement has worked hard also for the improvement of the status of women, especially since the 1980s in Turkey. They put forward issues like violence against women to the political agenda. The women's movement had a crucial role in the redemocratization process of Turkey. In 1997, an amendment on the Civil Code's Article 153 allowed women to carry their own surnames along with their husbands. So this is also very recent, as you see. Turkey signed and ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and in 2000 it signed its additional protocol. Turkey initially had reservations about some of its articles, but lifted them in 1999. In 2002, Turkey signed the optional protocol that allowed this right of individual petition to the Convention's Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. Another aspect is the EU accession process. It has a very strong and positive influence about women's rights in Turkey. The progress reports mention women's issues and ask for the improvement of women's status in Turkey. And the Turkish Parliament completed in January 2002 an extensive revision of the Civil Code, expanding gender equality. The article which accepts the man as the head of the family was abolished, which is very recent, unfortunately. And the legal minimum age for marriage was raised to 18, which was 17 for the man before and 15 for women. This is, as you see, in 2002 to 2003 period, which is very recent. When we look at the role of education in women's position, the women have to be aware of their rights. They are not aware of their rights. In Turkey, we will see that, in legal terms, there is not a big problem. But they are not aware of their rights and they cannot fight for their rights. They need to have an economic independence to be able to claim their rights. Everybody has a right to education, which was recognized by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. The right of education for the girls is one of the most important rights because education plays a crucial role, as our professor mentioned, in enabling women to secure other rights. The gender inequality in terms of education highly influences opportunities for employment of women. Education helps individuals to realize their potential in economic, political, and social arenas. Education of girls is an important instrument to overcome poverty too, as it was mentioned. Denial of the right to education for girls lead to exclusion from the labor market and marginalizing them in the informal sector or unpaid work. Women are usually vulnerable to discriminatory practices because of lack of education. So overcoming the gender gap in education and training is a crucial factor to provide the present and future generations of women with the necessary basic skills to enter the labor market. The biggest obstacles to girls' education are early marriage, pregnancy, and unpaid household work. Because of the child marriage, these girls cannot go on their education and they also lose their rights as children. According to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, under the age of 18, everybody is considered as a child. And according to the Child Rights Act, which was passed in 2003 in the African Union, sets the minimum age of marriage at 18 years old. However, only 23 parts of regions of Nigeria, of 36 states, have adopted this act. As a result, in some areas of the country, the minimum age of marriage can be as low as 12 years old, also was mentioned by Fatima. Almost half of the girls in South Asia marry before the age of 18. According to the UNICEF's report. 1 in 5 girls are married before the age of 15. The highest rate of child marriages in Bangladesh, followed by India, Nepal, and Afghanistan. The Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the African Child requires states to ensure that girls who become mothers before completing their primary education have an opportunity to continue with their education on the basis of their individual ability. To implement this, there is a necessity to enforce the right to education of pregnant girls and child mothers. So, although there is a legal basis, as you see, again, there is a problem of implementation. Only providing equal access to primary education and increasing the number of girls is also not enough. There is a necessity for providing them equal access to secondary education too, which may decrease also child marriages. The content of the school textbooks also need to be changed too. Tomasevsky argues that rights-based education is crucial for enjoying all human rights. So not only giving education, also changing the textbooks and changing the content is also very important. Rights-based education necessitates adjustment of the content of the education to the equal rights of girls and women, and there is a necessity to move beyond equal access to education for equality. The role of the EU accession process in Turkey, when we look at this in terms of women's rights, the compliance with the principle of gender equality is a precondition for Turkey's EU membership. And the accession process has had a crucial influence on the women's rights issue, especially after the Helsinki Summit in 1999. There are crucial reforms. On the other hand, this accelerated the reform process, and in recent years, Turkish legislation on women's rights has improved, crucially with the changes in the Turkish Penal Code, Civil Code, Labor Code, and Family Law. However, there are crucial deficiencies in terms of implementation. There are still problems in the field of education of girls, domestic violence, honor crimes, low labor market participation of women, and low political participation of women. The establishment of gender equality is a very challenging process which requires social transformation. The legislation needs to be backed up by action plans. Political will is one of the main factors which is crucial for the success of the gender equality policy. To realize gender equality, effective coordination and cooperation between Turkish government, social partners, NGOs, and the EU is necessary. Short, medium, and long-term strategic programs need to be prepared. The role of women in society in general. One of the main problems in terms of gender equality in Turkey is the low level of participation of women in labor. To claim their legal rights, they need to have an economic independence. There is a lack of effective measures which help women to balance their family life and their job. There is a necessity to establish places close to their work which provide childcare facilities. Even at the universities, there is a necessity. I don't have a child. I'm single, but I saw among my friends that there is a huge problem and there is a necessity for childcare facilities. And my friends who have a child have big problems about how to deal with these issues. Turkey needs to attract more women to the labor market and ensure good working conditions for them. While the ratio of women academicians in Turkey is very high compared to many West European countries, 27.4%, which is one of the biggest share in the world, there are regions in Turkey where almost half of the women is illiterate. In Turkey, 39% of the architects, 36% of the lawyers, and 50% of the bankers are women. So in terms of in this professional life, we can see high amount of women. But in terms of top levels, we cannot see a lot of women in some parts of professional life. Today, women in Turkey still need to cope with these problems, which emanate from continuation of traditional patriarchal values and male-dominated relations in many aspects of life. Turkish women's movement has played an important role in bringing women's issues to the social and political agenda since the 1980s. New institutions such as women's studies, graduate programs, and women's research centers at universities were established. The role of women in civil society has a crucial role in this respect. So women's NGOs in Turkey have grown in number and they have become more influential in recent years. There has been growing public attention on the issue of women's rights in Turkey. If Turkey go on making improvements in its legal system in terms of gender equality, and if it will realize them by implementation, Turkey may play a leading role also in the region in this respect. In Turkey, several important programs and projects have been put into practice to fight against violence towards women and to increase girls' attendance to schools. For example, maybe some of my Turkish colleagues may remember, especially the girls' education campaign entitled "Hey Girls, Let's Go to School." School Haydi Kızlar Okula kampanyası, and the campaign which calls Stop Violence Against Women had considerable success, particularly in terms of raising awareness in the society. One of the crucial instruments of improving gender equality is informing women and society about these rights, and there should be further efforts to educate people on gender equality regulations through broad educational campaigns. Women in politics. Another crucial aspect of gender equality is women in politics. To change the traditional gender roles and to put women's rights issues on the agenda. The share of women in parliament has increased in the last 15 years, not only in Turkey, also in the world. They were 13% in 2000, and they are now almost 22% in the world. However, there is still a long way to go. Nordic countries, as you can imagine, are the most gender equal parliaments. They have the most gender equal parliaments. On the other hand, in Pacific countries, just 15.3% of the parliamentarians are women. According to the survey of Women in Parliament's Global Forum supported by World Bank, which was held in 84 countries, the participation of women in politics is influenced by family roles. Female politicians tend to start their careers usually later. They have fewer children. They spend more time caring for their families. Only the women with supportive families could go to politics. On the other hand, men are more likely to mention running in spite of the discouragement from their families. They can go to politics. Women politicians receive fewer private donations on average than their male counterparts, and women rely relatively more on party sponsorship and support. So in terms of political campaigns, women are more worried about gender discrimination, negative advertising, loss of privacy, and not being taken seriously. More men have hold ministerial positions. As you know, also in Turkey we have only one woman minister. The societies will be enriched when there are more women in top position in politics, government, bureaucracies, and business. Women are more likely to bring new issues to the policy table. Increasing the number of women in the parliaments may have a positive influence on government transparency and result in policy outcomes which are more inclusive of the whole population. The women's political participation in Turkey is far below the European and world standards. Although there has been an improvement in participation of women in politics in recent years, there is still a long way to go. There are several barriers to women's involvement and advancement in formal political processes, which include masculine model of political life, women's relative lack of material resources to support or move into politics, and women's additional work burden at home and for taking care of children prevent them from having time necessary to engage in politics. And also when they are elected, they are usually less visible compared to men. Till 2007, the women members of the Turkish parliament represent at most 5%. In the recent elections this year, 98 women became members of the parliament, Turkish parliament. For the first time, the women representation at the Turkish parliament is 18%. A Ministry of State position for Women and Family Affairs was established to deal with gender policy. However, the term woman was taken from the name, and the name was transformed into the Ministry for Family and Social Policies, which was also criticized by the women organizations in Turkey. Further efforts need to be done to empower women, to strengthen the role of women in society, further promoting women's rights and their representation in political decision-making, including national and local levels. A better representation of women in Turkish politics will lead to stronger participation of women in other spheres. So I'm concluding. There are a few slides, and then I will go to the story of Tererai trend, and I will conclude. So although in legal terms Turkish women have equal rights in economic and social life and politics, they are usually unable to enjoy these rights. So the biggest problem is implementation. To realize gender equality in Turkey, especially two crucial issues are ensuring equal access to education and to fight against violence towards women. All the concrete measures have been taken in these fields, further efforts need to be done, and the existence of political will is crucial to promote gender equality. New media may encourage more women to enter politics. New media may allow women politicians to bypass mainstream media by appealing directly to voters. They can become more visible. It may encourage women to make networking and act together, and it may strengthen women's associations by spreading awareness. Now I'd like to talk about the story of Tererai Tran. If you have time, I also would like to show the video, but you may check it from YouTube if you like. She has a very inspiring story. She was born in Zimbabwe in a small village. She just wants to go to school, but her father didn't let her go. When her brother is going to school, she asked for it to her father. Why don't you allow me to go to school? Just for one day. I just want to sit on a desk, raise my hand and say something. She started to learn reading and writing by herself by using her brother's books. She got married at the age of 11. She became a mother of 3 children at the age of 18. One day, an NGO representative came to Tererai's village and she asked, "What are your dreams?" She answered that she wanted to have an education in the USA. The woman from the NGO stated that if you believe in those dreams, they can be achievable. One day, her mom told her to write her dreams and bury them. Her mother stated that if you believe in them, everything is achievable. Tererai believes in them. She never lost her hope. She's a dreamer. She dreamed to get education. She dreamed to go to the United States and to get a PhD there. She realized most of her dreams. She proves that everything is achievable. After realizing her dreams, she started to fight for other girls' dreams. She established a foundation called Tererai Trend International. She was invited to Oprah Winfrey's show. Winfrey mentioned Tererai as her favorite guest of all time. Tererai stated that after getting her PhD, her new dream is to build a school in her village. Oprah Winfrey made her a surprise and she supported her, realizing her another dream by donating money to her foundation to build a new school in her village. Tererai is now a symbol of hope for the women in our village, and she inspired a lot of women in the world, including me. I had a chance to listen to her in Istanbul at the meeting of Sabancı Foundation. I have always wanted to be a volunteer at a civil society organization, but after listening to her, I started to work as a volunteer at Toplum Gönülleri Vakfı in the Community Volunteers Foundation. Tererai is an inspiration for many women. She is the hope for all the girls in her town. She is a dream, and she achieved that. Fatime Alkeli, my student, and in her eyes, I really saw that when she came to my office. I saw that, she really has this dream also. And she has a chance to study in Istanbul, Turkey, at Bahçeşehir University, and now she wants to support education of girls in Nigeria. She has a dream, and I believe that she can achieve that too. Every human being needs to hope, and everybody in the world needs to be given a chance to realize their dreams. By not giving the girls their right for education and moreover forcing them to get married when they were a child, all of their hopes and dreams are stolen, so their lives are stolen. If the girls will be given their right to education, they can realize all their potential and that world will be much more peaceful and happier than this one. If those who have a chance to realize their dreams can help the others who do not have that chance, then that world will be much better than this one. Thank you so much.